There were a couple of sets that we knew we had to build, and one of them was the bar.
So this is the bar, Pop's Place. We needed to build a full 360 set. So it includes the entrance from the street above, stairs down onto the main floor, our bar, which is set up as a sort of a half an island bar. There's doors to an office, to the basement, booths. We pretty much had to build the entire bar to give us enough space to shoot in. This whole booth section here will float away. Various sections of the walls can get pulled out. So to shoot in here for 2 weeks, you need to be able to get the crew in and out quite easily. The look of the bar is within our 1970s palette, which is autumn tones. It's very brown, orange, amber glass, brass fittings, and that sort of signifies the 70s.
You know, there's a certain amount of logic in how you tailor each of those environments to the story. And in this case, we filled it full of smoke, and the lighting is sympathetic to the warm tones of the bar.
It needed to be textural and layered enough to hold interest.
Well, one of the things that makes this movie so unique is that about 50% of it takes place in this bar. And yet, the film itself travels over 60 years, but it's all centered around a very simple story being told while two people get drunk. It all has to happen in the minutiae of two characters interacting with each other.
A man walks into a bar, talks to a barkeep.
What do you do?
Whatever I have to.
Okay. Well, it's tough making a living, that's for sure.
What do you know about tough?
As much as the next guy, I guess.
He tells this barkeep about his life.
4 cents a word, I write confession stories. The Unmarried Mother is my pen name.
They lay a bet. This guy wants a bottle of whiskey and is happy to lay his dearest story on the line for the whiskey.
Bet you the rest of that bottle I got the best story you ever heard.
That in itself is kind of unique and a nice device for a movie.
You're sort of watching that bar scene play out thinking, what was all that stuff at the beginning about? You assume it's going one way, and then it turns into something else, and we take them on this unconventional journey where everything is interconnected.
That's a good shot right there.
Jeez, she goes through everything. And then he goes through everything as well. Like, she grows up an orphan, she has the love of her life leave her, pregnant. During the birth, discovers that she's actually a hermaphrodite, so gets turned into a man, thinks that she's going to raise the kid as a single father, the kid gets kidnapped. He, by this stage, moves to New York, becomes a writer, spirals further and further down into, self-loathing and depression and disgust, and is, on the path of a prolonged suicide as an alcoholic. It's a rough life. So entering that emotional world has been, it sounds weird, but enjoyable to engage with that side, the dark side. But then technically you have to play it all as a man. That's tricky. Very covert and secretive, but I knew it would change my life for the better. At one point I did go out to learn how to play pool properly with some guys, friends of mine. They taught me how to play pool. Still not very good.
It was so much fun to work with Ethan again. He's such a talented actor and such a contributor. He likes to get involved in the script. He likes to offer up suggestions. It was such a fun atmosphere. It was such a fun experience.
Michael was saying that I'm analytical when I work, and I didn't realize, but perhaps I am. But I think both of them are as well. And maybe that's why I enjoy working with them, because I think that's a good thing, because you know where you stand. And the best part about that, though, is that within that there is definitely room to move. They're not closed to ideas. They don't have a complete structure that if you mess around with it, that everything's going to be ruined, which is kind of very brave of them as well, given it's a time travel film, that if you change one thing, then, you know, it's a knock-on effect. Things change after that.
I like to operate the camera because I think in choosing the nuance of where the frame goes and what the frame sees, and in doing that I think that you're crafting the story and crafting the way that the audience perceives the movie. We use 2 cameras, 2 Arri Alexas. Terrific, love them. A deep love affair with the Alexa and the Arri system.
When I was a little girl.
What?
Oh, you want me to tell my story?
Cut that. Yep, that's it. I mean, come on. I mean, sometimes you got it. You know? It's like, boom.
There's an element of love between the barkeep and the unmarried mother. The thing that really has sewn us all together is that they are all in love with each other, which is they're in love with themselves. But they're not, because they're the same person in different time periods. So they are 2 physically tangible different people, except they are the same person as the thread through time.